Okay, let's do a palate cleanser. Let's do some Z-Frank. Let us do some Z-Frank. This should be a good palate cleanser for us.
This episode sponsored by Brilliant. On a scale of 1 to dead, how dead is this opossum? Why do some snakes do this? Are they drunk? And will this opossum live to see another day? You're about to find out. I know what you're thinking. Wouldn't want to meet one of those in a dark alley. No, you need a nice bright alley so you can get a good look at that face. Looks like a number 2 pencil got busy with a werewolf butt. Sorry, got
Okay, Rygat, have a good night. A number 2 pencil got busy with a werewolf butt. I have never heard that description before in my life. I don't know what to think about that. Well, and opossums are mean tourists. They can be mean.
busy with a werewolf, but opossums like this one, Jerry, punctuation. But opossums like this one are lovers, not fighters. And when I say opossum, I mean the ones in the Americas in the order Didelphimorphia, not the possums that live in Australia. Very different animals. Way to screw things up, Australia. There are 126 species of opossum, but only one lives in North America, the Virginia opossum. But down south, there's a woolly opossum, a big-ear opossum, fat-tailed, short-tailed, even a 4-eyed opossum. But you'll notice none of them are called the 2-headed opossum. It wouldn't help distinguish them, because in all these species, the males have a 2-headed penis. Now, I can show you one, but only if you show me the one.
Oh, what now? The males have a 2-headed shalong. Gentlemen in chat, are you jealous? Are you jealous? Does beg the question. Does that mean a male opossum can please 2 females at the same time? Moros? No. I refuse.
You're imagining first. All right, we'll do a drawing. How's that? Now, the opossum penis is like the double-barrel shotgun of the penis world. Split down the middle and each side connected to its own testicle. 2 shots. Surprisingly, science tells us this is not designed for nasal sex, but rather for the 2 vaginas and 2 uteruses that female opossums have up in their business.
Oh, God. Oh, God. And the females have 2 willas? Oh, Mama Nature! Mother Nature, go home, you're drunk! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Now, the signs that opossums are actually quite agreeable start early. Take a look at this opossum sperm. Jerry, those are pool noodles. Thank you. I know what you're thinking. 2-headed penis, 2-tailed sperm makes sense. But those are actually 2 individual sperm cells that came together. Inside the male opossum, when 2 sperm cells meet, they will often rotate around each other until they line up in a particular way, which causes the heads to stick together. But more importantly, for their tails to start beating in synchrony. When they start to do that, the pair can swim straighter and faster with less energy than if they were alone and
Okay, that is fascinating. That is honestly fascinating that this can happen. I've never heard about this before. That is really interesting. That the sperm cells can do that they can link up and work in tandem. Wow.
Single unpaired sperm have a tendency to swim in circles. In any case, when a pair reaches an egg cell, they split apart, shake hands, and may the best sperm win sort of thing. This sort of collaboration happens in quite a number of animals. Here's bull sperm, for example. Here's ant sperm. Looks like 2 sperm gangs are about to rumble. The science hippies call it forming a sperm train. It's a good title for a movie. Buddy comedy.
deserved. But okay, so it's not just opossums. It's other animals that this can happen to also. I've never heard of this. This is fascinating, honestly. It really
Two
is.
best friends wind up falling in love with the same girl? Or something like, many get on board, but only one will arrive. Sperm train, coming soon. No, too obvious. Anyway, when one of
Z Frank?
these little bastards finally gets inside of an egg cell, that's when it starts to get stressful. This little blobule here only has about 2 weeks to grow inside of mama. Opossums are marsupials, and the rudimentary placentas they have aren't enough to protect the babies and keep them safe from their mother's immune system. So, these little parasites get kicked out early. Things start moving quickly around day 9, and by day 11, they look a bit like the love child of Charizard and Casper the Ghost. Looks like a Haunt Me Elmo doll, like a space gopher. Looks like a tardigrade trick-or-treating as Barney. And by day 13, it's time for these little zombie gummy bears to leave.
Yeah, this looks a little horrifying. I'm not gonna lie, this looks kinda horrifying.
At this point, they're around the size of a bee and blind. But during development, a few things were fast-tracked to help with what happens next. Those cute little claws there are actually temporary and will fall off, but not until after they've helped the baby crawl unassisted from the birth canal to the mother's pouch. That's 4 or 5 body lengths, and they do it blind.
Interesting.
Without sight, they rely on their precocious little snout to smell and feel their way to the nipples. Once they get there, they can use their surprisingly strong tongues to help latch on tight until the nipple inflates inside their mouth to form a tight seal. On average, opossum mummies have 13 nipples. In this case, 13 isn't unlucky. You know what is? 14. Because opossums will sometimes have more babies than nipples. And in that case, it's sort of like a game of musical chairs. Except, with nipples and to the death. Once they're safely inside the pouch, these flesh bees have time to turn into proper opossum babies. It's cushy in there, not really teaching them independence. And I'll say it, this is the sort of parenting that leads to spoiled children. You can draw...
That's a tight little fit there. That is definitely a tight little fit, I must say.
Your own conclusions here, but look what happens when they get big enough to leave the pouch. They go straight to the mother's back. And yes, it's cute. It's great for Instagram, but look at Mom. The face says it all. It's a mother of resting bitch faces right there. So
this is Mom right now going,
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Eventually, it's time to kick those little f***ers off and let them fend for themselves. Now, I don't know how much fending you've done, but I can tell you that if you want to get your fend on, it does help to have some equipment. They have this bullwhip of a tail covered with these scaly patches of keratin. You could mess somebody up with one of those. Whoopsh, take an ankle out.
I've never seen an opossum's tail up close like that. I didn't realize it was covered in keratin like that. Interesting. I thought it was just basically like just skin, but it was like heavily muscled. I didn't realize they have that coating to it. That would make it a pretty useful like defensive weapon.
But they don't. No one bothered to teach them that. They end up using them to carry sticks and leaves back to the den. I guess they're good for balance, and when they're young they can hang upside down on them, and by adulthood they're too heavy. Ooh, didn't see the tree there? But even if they don't have a fearsome tail, they do have old man hands. Like they're born with the hands of a 70-year-old carpenter with a nail fungus, which somehow always seems to look like their shorter finger. They're not, and their back feet look even more like old man hands. They've got a little opposable big toe. And
interesting trap. They actually have finger and palm prints. You could actually fingerprint and palm print an opossum. How fucking cool is that? That you could actually fingerprint that for identification. Neat. Alright. Some cool fish and wildlife. We got a perp, take them in for printing.
butt cheek palms. Palms that are covered in friction ridges for maximum grippage. Makes for a memorable handshake, a foot shake, but not exactly a weapon. But who needs fearsome claws when you have those teeth, right? Oops.
Yeah.
Looks like you got a little salad stuck in there. And if you're counting, there's 50 of them, the most of any land mammal. And they've got this bony ridge up top where muscles attach, so they can chew right through the bones of a mouse. But you can't bring a nutcracker to a fist fight, am I right? I am. And at the end of the day, all these open-mouthed, toothy displays are mainly just bluster. So, overall, a bit short on the defense. I'm telling you, lovers, not fighters. However, let me tell you something. They can stand still. Like those dudes dressed up as the Statue of Liberty busking for change on the promenade sort of standing still. I'm talking mime-level shit. You know what my mother used to say? ABC.
Ad time.
Always be learning.
Ad
Because she never
time.
learned how to spell. But
You
it is
tru-
true.
What,
and
Bobcat?
Brilliant.org is where you learn
You
by
know what?
doing, with thousands of lessons in
If he
math,
plays
data
dead,
analysis, programming, and AI.
opossum plays dead or goes into its fear mode, it'll stand still long enough. I mean, you can fingerprint it then. Just scare it and it'll play dead, and then you fingerprint it.
Brilliant is designed to be fun and get all that learning to stick. It's not memorization, but rather a chance to play with concepts.
Yeah,
and
Shadow, I
systems
know it
interactively.
is what it
And
is.
that turns out to be
Maybe
6 times more effective
maybe
than
the
watching
advertiser
video lectures.
required
Before
the
you know it,
maybe the
you'll be
advertiser
analyzing
required it to be
generating
put in the middle of the
text
video. Who
Python.
knows?
One step closer
You know,
to
I don't
building that
do
passive-aggressive chatbot
ads
to
on my
automate text
YouTube
with your
stuff,
eyeballs.
or I don't do
Always great to
sponsorships,
see
so
what
I have no
we fixed.
idea
We
how these
fixed.
contracts work.
To
But
try everything
the
Brilliant has
advertisers
to offer
can
for free
request
for a full
specifics in
30
contracts.
days, visit brilliant.org/zfrank. Or click on the link in the description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Give it a look-see today. Brilliant has been a long-time sponsor of this show, and I'm a fan. Where were we? Oh, right. This "oh shit now freeze" response is actually quite common. I bet you've done it. See some jackass friend of a friend come round a corner. "Oh shit now freeze." Hope they don't see you. Just blend into the background. Like a deer caught in the headlights. Just gonna move you right over here. Rabbits,
Oh.
they're good at this sort of thing. Jerry, did we have to buy the footage for this? I mean, it's just standing still. We could have done a photo. No, not now. Well, now we paid for the footage and the still. Damn it, Jerry. Even blind beach snails have the "oh shit now freeze." Look at the little one. Bumps into a big predatory Agaronia snail and just stops. It works. The big guy senses something but just lunges forward. Anyway, this freezing behavior is normally for when an animal has spotted a threat but still thinks it hasn't been detected, which is a bit of a stretch for this opossum. I mean, it's moving its head as you walk by. But while frozen, the animal is still aware
I
and
see
quite in
you.
control, just waiting for a moment to escape. And this is quite a bit different from another defense that the opossum is famous for. You've heard of it. It's often called playing possum. Doesn't tell you much. A bit self-referential. Sometimes it's, Jerry, that's a dog. Sometimes it's called playing dead, and it can certainly look like that. But it's just one example of something that happens all over the animal kingdom that the science hippies call tonic immobility. These animals aren't playing or pretending, though. This is an involuntary reflex. It's not really in their control.
Really?
They stop moving, often in a contorted or death-like pose, unresponsive, and this lasts for seconds or up to an hour. It's usually triggered by being royally f***ed, like if you're in someone's mouth, or grabbed, or restrained, or turned upside down. Or in the case of a chicken when it stares at a line, don't ask. And listen, this response does occasionally seem to help animals avoid death. For an insect, it can actually be part of an escape plan. If you're holding onto a leaf like this wood tiger moth and you suddenly go stiff, you drop to the underbrush and disappear. Same thing if you're
Interesting.
flying. Pew! Unexpected. It also might change the calculus of an attack. Battles between ant colonies are usually many against many. So if a vulnerable soft-skeleton juvenile fire ant keels over, its attacker has to move on to the next fight. There's no time to check to see if this one's faking it. And in the same vein,
Interesting
if you live in
idea.
large groups, you can use this to throw your friends under the bus. If there's a bunch of you running around and the predator thinks you're immobilized, then it might try for some bonus snacks, giving you just enough time to get away. And
No, Bobby, that's a T-Rex, not a cat. It's the T-Rex that is falsely considered vision based on movement. I'm a cat. I could see you just fine. And by the way, I'm reasonably sure that the whole concept of the T-Rex's vision based upon movement has been widely debunked. That was just a. I don't even think that I can't even remember if the idea was even in Michael Crichton's original book, or if it was just for the movie. I can't recall Michael Crichton's book ever talking about how the T-Rex's vision was based on movement. So I think that may have just been something they did for the movies. Yeah, I read something about that too, Alistair, that they were opportunistic and they were not the predatory killing machines that people thought that they were.
Stopping a predator from trying to immobilize you can be a huge step towards living another day. Many predators have these instincts to subdue struggling prey, like how a dog shakes violently to maybe break a neck. If you suddenly stop struggling, you might be able to stop the shaking too, or at least get it to tone down a bit. And tonic immobility often does seem to change a predator's behavior. Now, some animals, including the opossum, really seem to ham it up. Sometimes the mouth will be open or drool coming out. I mean, the hog-nosed snake should get a f***ing Oscar. And there's plenty of other excellent performances. And this has led to the idea that these animals are feigning death, or somehow taking advantage of a predator's instinct not to eat long-dead animals. Adding to this is the fact that some of these animals will defecate or exude a gross-smelling substance. The opossum secretes something from there. But a predator would have to be especially stupid to think that an animal they were chasing a moment ago was now a long-dead, rotting corpse. It might just be that it's unappetizing because it's suddenly weird and gross. Or in some cases, like with this pygmy grasshopper, the pose that they get into makes it harder for a frog to eat them. However it works, it's a good trick, and if you have it, you might bring it out on other occasions. A number of animals seem to go into tonic immobility to avoid the advances of a potential mate. Playing dead is a near universal.
Oh my god, even animals do that faking I'm asleep so I don't have to have sex. Chat? It's not just humans. Animals do it too. So well, so maybe the faking asleep so you don't have to get busy with your partner is a more instinctual response. Hey, no pooping. He said it. I'm just correlating. I am just correlating.
Universal ick. In the case of this female frog here, it might actually save her life. Collections of horny males often get into a frenzy and form mating balls. Stop it. And that can be deadly for a female. Now, even though these animals look completely unconscious, they do seem to be able to still process some aspects of the environment. Some will reduce the time that they're in this state if the threat is past or if there's shelter nearby. And if they're lucky, eventually it's time to wake up. Often a bit groggy and out of sorts, on wobbly legs. You know, sometimes covered in shit, stumbling back to the den with some serious explaining to do. No, I didn't go to the bar last night.
I was gonna say, it sounds like a bad night out at the bar.
You're lucky to have me home at all. Fine, whatever. Sorry I'm late, all right? Now, how about a little makeup say? Oh, now you're playing dead. Great. Opossum. Looks like a nipple that tried to escape out the face of a cat. Looks like a used shuttlecock that grew a body. Looks like a badger that shrunk in the wash. Looks like a raccoon just entering a black hole.
Look how he spells. Did you see the chart? He actually has bibes. That's so cute. And he has a shirt. Oh, that was great.
Opossum. Opossum.
I'll let it play through so all the credits can get in.
Opossum.
That was great. That was a good video. What do you think, chat? Was that a good palate cleanser? Do we consider that a pretty good palate cleanser? Eh? Yeah, it was pretty catchy. Yeah, Steve Frank is always good.